Hey Adam, how are you doing today?
I'm very well. How are you?
Yeah, very, very well, thank you. And as per the background, this is our inbound podcast kind of thing special.
Indeed, yeah, lots to cover today.
Yeah, so much to cover. And we're recording this on the 28th of August, so about a few days before inbound. About a week before inbound. So we've got advanced insight into what's going on.
Yeah, very lucky to be able to have that preview, and yeah, I can't wait for everybody else to find out about this on the third.
Yeah, it's gonna be so good. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start off by going through Marketing Hub, okay? Then we're gonna go through Sales Hub, then Commerce Hub, then Data Hub, hint hint, and then Smart CRM, Breeze, and if we get time, we might just mention Loop Marketing, but we will see. There might be a whole other kind of piece of content about that. So we're really excited for that. So let's dive into Marketing Hub. So Marketing Hub's seeing quite a big change. I think it's probably the biggest change of all. I would say the nicest kind of, I'd say, sexiest features that HubSpot has to offer for this inbound. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. I think marketers will be very pleased with the updates that are coming to Marketing Hub,
Mm.
and I guess yeah, the first one being that kind of lists are no more. Well, lists have been
Yeah,
renamed.
we're getting rid of lists, and that'd be a crazy update. So lists, like Adam said, are being called or renamed to be called segments, which I think makes sense considering how people treat lists in HubSpot. I think they are it is essentially a rebrand, but reality, like, it makes more sense for what HubSpot's bringing together. So segments is going to come with a whole homepage. We're going to be flashing up some imagery on the video because we haven't got the full imagery set yet. But there'll be a segments homepage, AI recommended segments, and AI segments builder. So that's like the AI lists assistant. And a segment builder with advanced logic. What that advanced logic is, we don't know yet, do we? But it sounds very, very exciting.
Certainly does. And I think when I first saw this update, it kind of felt like HubSpot going back to its roots as such. Because I know when
Mm.
I first started, like kind of learning about HubSpot methodology, etc., it was all about segmenting your data with like personas, etc. So for this to be called segments makes complete sense, and kind of that is the real reason behind lists. Obviously, I know lists can also be handy for workflow get arounds and stuff, but yeah, the primary reason of them is to segment your data. So it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, completely agree. So, like, in the screen grab that we've got here as well, it's like CRM segments. It's already breaking down the lists per kind of object, which it kind of did already, but this is much clearer. You're able to see, the lists that are in each of those kind of categories, and then dig deeper from there. I think the AI-powered segments is going to be huge, and just the way that you can do more personalization with it, which I think leads us into kind of change number two, which is HubSpot are basically complementing segments with personalization features. So they call this personalization 2.0. And what are the kind of the key features that we've got here, Adam?
So the way I understand it is that it's going to be brought out to its own dedicated
Mhm.
hub almost, like a personalization app as such. So it will be accessible from the marketing navigation on the left hand side, and from here you'll be able to do all kind of personalization across your web assets,
Mm.
landing pages, CTAs, and I believe email is going to be added in the future. But for now, it's just kind of the landing pages and CTAs.
Yeah, absolutely. So the whole point of it is to create what HubSpot call customized experiences that convert, powered by the smart segments that you've built. So you build out your segments, then you push it into the kind of personalization section of HubSpot. And in here as well is a personalization agent. So there's, I think, tons and tons of agents that are coming, but personalization agent takes the guesswork out of targeting marketing by intelligently identifying segments that will respond best. So I think that's pretty awesome. And it's going to help you kind of discover new audiences. You're not going to spend as much time creating lists. You're going to be able to have all that personalization in one place. So being able to, like you said, like tailor web experiences for different lists. Can't get lists out of my head now. Different segments I think will be a big win for marketers. They talk about fragmented campaign activation as well, so you've got different stuff going on all everywhere. And I think having that one or two apps, segments and personalization together will be a big difference. Any other thoughts on segmentation, personalization, Adam?
No, apart from that, I just really like it. I think like you kind of said already, it is what HubSpot's all about from a marketing perspective. You know, have as personalized lists as possible. So really target your audience, segment that, and then when you do contact that right person, make sure it's with the right message. And to be able to give the right message, it's got to be personalized. So to be able to kind of combine those two within their own features is great.
Yeah, I think it's going to be awesome. Just as a note, at Inbound, per the notes we've got here, you will need a Marketing Hub and Content Hub Professional Plus subscription. So it's not just a Marketing Hub subscription or Marketing Hub feature. You will need both subscriptions to make that to use that new feature. So moving on, this is the coolest looking thing I think I've seen, and it is called Marketing Studio. So imagine Miro board or like a Lucid chart, but plugged into HubSpot. How are marketers going to use this, Adam?
I think it just keeps them all in one place. You know, there's been a lot of improvements with the sales workspace, being able to keep all your sales reps in one place, and it's great to see there's not an equivalent, but an area for marketers to be able to plan their campaigns and have kind of all that structure within one place.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you'll be able to actually visualize the flow. You've never been able to do that before. Like you're actually visual. Okay, that goes to there, that goes to there. Oh, we're missing a bit here, or whatever it might be. And I think that's going to be mega powerful for marketers to be able to visualize their workspace. So just like the kind of the drag and drop email builder, it's like a drag and drop canvas where you can drop assets and connect them with arrows, write post-its, and all of those kind of assets that you're dropping on are actually actionable. You can click them and go into stuff and go into the detail and see what you're missing. And I think it's like super duper powerful. I think places like Miro, Lucid Chart will kind of maybe a strategic acquisition is on the cards in the next few weeks or something like that. I don't know, but it seems like that's the place it's going. It's bringing all those assets into one place on a visual planning board, and I think that is incredibly powerful. And marketers will like that a lot. So the idea is just to bring that all into one place. So a collaborative visual canvas, AI-driven suggestions, and everything in one place. So it's currently in private beta as we're recording this. It will go into public beta today when we release this. That is crazy exciting. So very much looking forward to that. Do you want to go through the next one, Adam?
Yeah, so next on marketing is AI-powered emails, awesome. Which is really awesome. I was quite excited about this one. It covers a host of different areas. So it helps with like the creation of emails. It helps with personalizing the content and targeting. With my favorite feature being that it can enhance the optimization times of when emails are sent. So previously, a lot of people might say, oh, webinar invites typically best to send on a Tuesday at 10 o'clock, but that's not for everybody, right? So what this can now do is work out when certain contacts interact with emails at the best time and send the email to those contacts at when they're most likely to engage. So that is an enterprise feature, but a really cool one.
Yeah, I really like that. And I think from the kind of the imagery that we've been shown so far, you'll be able to insert like a dynamic text token into your email. So not just first name, last name, company name, that type of stuff. But the description here is AI will create personalized text for each recipient at the time of send. So, you give it a prompt to say, create an introduction that introduces people to our newsletter. The AI is going to create a bespoke piece just for that person, just before it gets sent. There's a lot of trust in AI going on there, right? Because at the moment, tools are powered by kind of workflows or Clay or something like that, where you're generating that bespoke text in a property and bringing it in, and you can see it and give it a sense check from a human eye. This is completely dynamic. No oversight to what it's sending before it gets sent, I think is a crazy kind of concept, but exciting. But I don't know if is people going to trust it?
Yeah, it's going to take somebody's got to test it first, right? Because like you say, that is a bit scary, not knowing what's going to be in the email. But again, I guess it's one of those things that will improve with time. And I guess like with all these kind of AI elements, when it comes to content, it heavily matters in terms of your prompting and what you're feeding it. So, I doubt you'd want to have that for, to write the entire email. But perhaps if you had a small paragraph about what you last spoke about and it can read the context of your activity, then it can't go too far wrong. But if you so using that feature to kind of write a whole email, then obviously too far.
It'd be a bit crazy. So just to go through the kind of the feature and the tiers and the status it will be at inbound. So this is obviously an intended status, so we don't know 100% yet, but this is the prediction anyway. So AI email creation in English only will be professional plus, private beta at inbound. AI email template upload, public beta at inbound. AI dynamic email personalization, Marketing Hub Enterprise, like you mentioned earlier, private beta. Engagement optimization, which is, like you said earlier, again, like when is it the best time to send, Marketing Hub Enterprise, public beta. Send time optimization. This is interesting, actually. I think those are two different things. Engagement optimization and send time optimization. Two separate features apparently on here. So I have to get into the detail of what they are. Both in public beta, both for Marketing Hub Enterprise. Send time optimization on a campaign level, professional plus. Summary insights on your email campaigns, professional plus. Email performance anomaly detection, professional plus, and that'll be live at inbound. And then a redesigned email editor will be available for everybody on a free and above public beta at inbound. So that's a whole host of features coming in under that one label of AI powered email, right?
Yeah, I think a few of them we've seen kind of in drips and drabs in terms of like template AI coverage. So it's great to kind of see it all come together in one packaged solution, because it really is powerful what you can do with it now.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, like you said, like a lot of the features that we're going to go through for the rest of this kind of video is people using HubSpot daily, agencies, HubSpot nerds like us will have seen a lot of this stuff in private beta or public beta already. But like you said, it's all been packaged up now and it's now available to sell pretty much. And like I said, packaged up as one big thing. So that's Marketing Hub. Nice updates, very visual updates, lots of AI as expected. So what's coming to Sales Hub? So I'll kick us off with an update to the prospecting agent. So at the moment, prospecting agent is very reactive. It's going to just say, oh, this person's inquired. Let's reach out to them, right? Or you manually enroll them. And it's a bit, it's not great. However, the new version is essentially being marketed as a reactive, going from reactive prospecting into proactive, continuous engagement. I think that's the key difference that we've got here. So it's going to be embedded in the sales workspace instead of in its own place. You can customize selling profiles with lots of advanced prompting rather than the basic stuff that you can give it right now. Get it to target specific industries or segments. And it's going to watch for signals to actually know when to reach out to people. So sounds like a decent improvement. I mean, all these AI products are improving all the time, but what's your thoughts?
Yeah, it's one of those ones where I'm going to have to see this one in play to be able to really comment. But I think the idea that it's going to become more seamless within the sales workspace is a bonus for me. Big fan of the sales workspace, and so for that to become almost kind of native within that feature can only help salespeople, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think an interesting one here is it's actually the prospecting agent that's coming out is going to be available with multilingual support. I think that's a really nice update. Great stuff. So this one, we were like, is it new? Is it not? But smarter sales meetings. So this is the, it's already been in private or public beta for a while. And this is the kind of prepare for meeting area that you have in the sales workspace. You get the details, you get internal notes, pain points, all driven by AI, and you can have the recording and transcript straight in there. Like, we have that with our kind of Google Meet integration. Doesn't feel like much is new on this one. I don't know if you feel the same.
Yeah, I mean, I think, like you say, to us and probably other partners, doesn't seem to be anything new here. But for somebody that isn't aware of this feature, I think it's awesome, because a lot of people might be paying for third party kind of applications such as Gong perhaps, and kind of HubSpot have got their own built-in, you're kind of already paying for it but not necessarily using it feature here. So, and the AI as well, that's going to be able to take that context of the conversation as well to feed back in to your sales performance workspace is really cool as well.
Yeah, I like that. And an additional feature that's coming out inbound by the looks of it here is that it will automate task creation based on the conversation content. So that's a really nice feature, because that's what Fathom does for us right now. But HubSpot's going to do it for us. It's going to have much more context from what's going on with that account as a whole. So I really hope it looks at the previous context and then brings all of that context in to actually grab and create a task that's relevant. I think that's the key bit with Fathom stuff right now. I feel like, it's creating me that task, I've already done it, or it's not relevant and stuff. I think if it can do automatic task creation, that is going to be really, really nice.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, it's a time saver, right? I think anything that saves time in sales is always going to be welcome. So definitely a great feature.
Yeah, completely agree. So I'd argue our next one is sales related. However, HubSpot, we're not sure if we agree with this one, are we, Adam? I'll be honest. Like, I'll put our hands up, put our partner status on the line. Are we a fan of Commerce Hub being broken out from Sales Hub with a different seat to use the quoting features? I am not 100% convinced this is a great idea, but the features look good. I'll say that.
Yeah, I think that's important to say. Yeah, we're definitely a fan of the features.
Yeah,
the changes are awesome. Just not so much a fan of having to kind of add another seat just to be able to quote effectively.
Agree.
But it is a massive improvement.
So let's talk about Commerce Hub then, because this is what we're leading into. So most people, partners, HubSpot users will know that HubSpot's quoting software, building a HubSpot quote, quoting templates, they've never been great. And HubSpot, I think, has acknowledged that. Last year they bought Cashflow, which was the quoting tool that they purchased last year. And Adam, you actually predicted this, right, on our kind of pre-inbound chat that we had, that we never released, because one of your predictions were way too close to what actually ended up coming true.
Yeah, I think probably my closest one was the kind of contextual AI, where it can take the context of what's been said in previous activity and use that. And it's really cool to see that is going to be used in CPQ. So like all the other updates, AI is definitely baked into this, and you can use it to kind of write that that kind of cover letter within the quote at the very beginning. And when you use that AI, it does refer back to kind of all that context that's happened within the deal, all the activity, any call transcripts, etc. And then it will be able to give you a very accurate summary of your quote, which is awesome. And like you say as well, the user interface is a massive improvement on this, being able to drag and drop and actually edit line items, add discounts. There's now quote approvals as part of this. Again, that one's on an enterprise seat, so an enterprise commerce seat, and e-signatures as well being within it as well. So so massive improvements, but just a shame it's behind a seat.
Completely agree. And I think, it's Commerce Hub is essentially becoming its own thing, its own hub. It was always a hub. It was always just included in Sales Hub. HubSpot have now given it some kind of massive upgrades, which we do appreciate. The new AI-powered CPQ solves lots of kind of key customer problems. Quotes taking too long to create, fragmented tools. The buyer experience is a bit rubbish with static PDFs. It's a bit old school, isn't it? The current version, the pre-inbound version. So this new one has lots of great features. You can use AI to help create it. Like Adam said, it's drag and drop. You can do like edit line by line just by clicking into it. It's very, very powerful. The most important thing to say is that Commerce Hub, they're promising at the moment that there's going to be no changes for existing customers. If you're using HubSpot Quotes currently to do your quoting using the legacy quotes tool, which is all the one that we're using currently, then there will be no change for you. They haven't said for how long that will be, mind you. So who knows? But yeah, we're not 100% sure how long that will be. HubSpot are saying that this is a great fit for companies under 200 employees with a reasonably simple SKU. And it's still saying that, if you've got large, complex product catalogs, it's kind of not really for you. So anyway, anyone using legacy quotes, you will be absolutely fine. And you'll be able to keep going with what you've got, however long that lasts. However, we're not quite sure. Other interesting ones that are in here, like you said though, Adam, you've got Closing Agent in public beta at Inbound. So I have not looked into exactly what that does, but it sounds like you're going to send a quote and the closing agent's going to close for you. Like,
it's definitely got the coolest naming of these agents. There's a bit of an agent army that are being released today. And yeah, I've watched the demo on this, and what the closing agent does is effectively very similar to customer agent in terms of having that kind of chatbot feature. So when the closing agent will appear on your quote, so then you can interact with that if you've got questions about your quote. So for example, if you were to question, can you show me the terms? It will come back with the terms. Or if you've questioned how much is X, it will actually be able to look up that line item and give you back that information. So how much impact it will actually have in being able to persuade somebody to sign that quote and actually close, I don't know. But yeah, very cool name. And again, there's a nice feature to have.
Yeah, I think it's a nice feature. I think it sounds good with like big, complex quotes. I wonder if it'll be able to do things like, oh, can I have a discount if I sign today? Wonder if it could do something like that. If someone says that, give them 5% or something. That'd be awesome, because that is kind of what someone who is closing a deal is doing, right? They're being flexible on price, they're being flexible on terms. I wonder if you could give it some guardrails like you can with, like you said, with customer agent. So yeah, that one sounds really, really awesome. And like I said, we're a fan of the features. Just maybe I'm not a fan of the seats pricing. So on this, it just feels, if you're a salesperson who wants to do quoting, you're going to have 2 seats, which effectively is going to double the cost of your HubSpot subscription for salespeople. We'll wait and see it in action though, and we'll reserve judgment until then. So let's move on to what was Operations Hub, but is being rebranded Data Hub, which I think probably makes sense.
Yeah, I agree. It does kind of summarize it better in terms of what's involved in that hub. So yeah, I think the name change makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of like what HubSpot are saying here. It's kind of a natural evolution, right? Operations Hub, built for operations, built for developers, built for analysts. Data sets were just for reporting, limited external data sources, bit of a pain to bring in, and essentially just not built for AI. So with Data Hub, there is 11 features. I'll rattle through them really quickly. Data Studio, this is the home page for everything data related. Data quality, we have that already, but that sounds good. Data warehouse integrations. Data warehouse is actually I'm pretty certain Data warehouse is a partner of HubSpot, right? Rather than okay, cool. I'll move on for that. I want to see that in action because that sounds awesome. Data sync, we've already got that as well. That's HubSpot's native apps, but it's kind of been packaged into the Data Hub. Programmable automation, that's the automation you have in workflows, custom code. Duplicate management, we've obviously already got that. AI-powered data formatting recommendations. This is obviously what we've got already, but I think becoming a bit more powerful. This one, number 8 on our kind of partner briefing that we've got, Adam, the live spreadsheet integration is just going to sound so good, right? Like you can actually plug in Google Sheets directly in HubSpot. So we'll talk about that in a minute as well. Advanced imports, no more detail on that, but I'm looking forward to reading that. And reverse ETL, even we're not technical enough for that. Do you know what that means, Adam?
No, not that one.
No, and data share as well. So let's have a look at what these are. So Data Studio, this is essentially like transforming your siloed data into actionable insights right from your HubSpot kind of Data Studio home screen. You can plug in CSVs, you can plug in apps, you can plug in spreadsheets that are actually like live Google Sheets. You can run campaigns based on external data. that's just sounds awesome.
Definitely. It's going to save people a lot of a lot of hours, a lot of time.
Yeah.
But being able to kind of move data through systems, being able to do it in one place.
Yeah, completely agree. And from the video demo that I saw on, being able to plug in a Google Sheet, you can actually, it's like you can create a list based on that Google Sheets data, but you don't have to bring the Google Sheet data into HubSpot. So if you've got like people's dietary requirements for a particular event, it's a complete pain to bring that into HubSpot. You don't need it in there. It's probably personal data that you shouldn't have in your CRM, to be fair. And but you can just sync it in temporarily with the kind of the spreadsheet integration, and do stuff with it in HubSpot, which I think just sounds incredibly cool. And obviously that all plugs into segments. It plugs into the personalization, everything that we spoke about earlier.
Yeah, and it's just going to help keep HubSpot tidier, which is one of the main benefits of OpsHub previously, anyway. But like you say, to be able to pull off of data that isn't in HubSpot is really beneficial to save adding in stupid fields like dietary requirement, like you say.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's move on to data quality, because we've got lots to talk about here, and throughout the rest of we're only on 4 out of 6 of our kind of briefings here. So we have got data quality enhancements coming in. So after inbound, so once launched at inbound, data quality will continuously monitor your entire database, alerting teams to issues before they affect operations. So you're not just, oh, there's a dupe that was spotted yesterday, we should do something about it. It's actually doing it all the time, constantly. There's probably still some limits about around monitor your entire database. Sounds a bit like an enterprise feature to me, but I think that sounds awesome, especially if you kind of bring that in with smart enrichment as well, because that sounds like a way to keep that data clean. Plugging in with spreadsheets, plugging in with external data sources is going to be incredibly powerful.
Yeah, and I'm keen to again see this one in play to see kind of what alerts that will bring to teams, and how much control you have over what it does in terms of what it alerts you to.
Yeah, completely agree. I think one of the interesting things here is they're mentioning about having customizable rules that eliminate the need for periodic cleanup projects. What that means, really, I'm hoping, is more of like a Koalify style user interface for setting rules around deduping and stuff. Because at the moment, it's like, oh, if the first name and the last name are the same, well, what happens to all the Andy Smiths that you've got in your database? That's just it's not specific enough, is it, in that place?
Yeah, and I mean, probably a couple of weeks ago, not too long ago, we saw that beta that came out around auto deduping, but the fields on that were so limited. So perhaps that was just like a dip in the water of what it will become. So it'd be interesting to see if that adds more features to that at inbound.
Yeah, completely agree. So pricing on Data Hub, be pleased to know it's not going to differ from the core seat pricing from what we've been told so far. However, Data Studio, when you sync data outside the studio, that's then going to cost you a credit, okay, to do so. We haven't got any details about how that kind of works just yet and how much the cost will actually be in detail, okay? Obviously, you get credits included with your HubSpot subscription now if you're on the seats-based pricing. However, they're trying to align, I think, with solutions like Clay, Data Cloud, Zoho Data, because essentially it's bringing in data from outside sources, and essentially that is what those tools do, and they do charge you a credit cost. So it's like parity with those other systems, I think. So that looks awesome. And for Operations Hub users currently, it says here that you're going to be migrated eventually to the new Data Hub with no kind of change to your functionality. You just get more availability going on there, which sounds really awesome. So happy days. Should we move on to Smart CRM, because this is a whole host of features going on in the overall CRM, starting off with flexible CRM views. And Adam, I know you are incredibly excited about the ones that came from the Org Chart Hub acquisition.
Yes, I think that's a really nice to have that natively within HubSpot. So what that is where you can view all the contacts within a company within the actual org chart. And again, like everything else, there's AI baked into this, where it can actually work out what that org chart is automatically. And if you have your own org chart in terms of like if you're working with enterprise accounts and you typically want to see the same structure, you can apply that structure from your own template, and Breeze will work out which contacts sit where, flag gaps where there are gaps, and also recommend where potential contacts could sit, and shows you where the activity spread is across not just sales but also marketing. So it should be an even spread across. So you'll be able to see via like a heat map where that time is being spent across the different contacts from a sales perspective. But then you can also toggle that across to marketing to see, okay, well, who's interacting with the marketing comms, and are they also being interactive from a sales perspective to kind of help with your targeting to those larger accounts.
Yeah, I think that's just going to be so good. Really can't wait for that, because that heat map as well is just so powerful. As you know, I used to love that from the old org chart hub subscription that we had. It's so good. So just building on what you're just saying there, so you're going to have lots of different views. You have a couple of these already, like table and report/chart views, but you're also going to get board views, which is in private beta right now. Gantt views as well. I think Gantt views is going to be incredible for things like projects, which are actually going to become a new HubSpot object. They're not mentioned here. However, we have had a sneak preview at projects. They're also being released today, as far as I'm aware, which sounds awesome. HubSpot has been always said it's not a project management tool. So I'm really interested to see how projects will integrate with tools like Asana, Teamwork, Monday.com, all that type of stuff, which just sounds awesome. So I think the main benefit of this flexible CRM is that people can view the same data, but just in different ways. So marketing can view it as a conversion chart. You've got sales teams can view it as like a pipeline. That's just really powerful. Then bring in the map view as well, which came from the org chart hub acquisition. Field service reps can see customers that are in a similar area. Also great for event marketers as well, making sure you get people invited who are nice and close by. So let's talk about self-generating CRM data, Adam, because I think this one for us was, we've seen smart properties. We like that. You've got tools like Claygent for Clay. You've got Salesforce's Einstein, which they're both not doing what HubSpot's doing. HubSpot's going to bring in that conversational enrichment, smart properties, all working behind the scenes automatically. But what other things are coming from self-generating CRM data?
So it's a bit of a throwback in a way, because HubSpot used to be able to automatically populate certain fields for free.
Yep.
And that is now the case again. So if you've got a core seat, it will for free enrich records based off of, like you say, conversation enrichment. So off of email chains, so we'll pick out phone numbers and addresses and first name, last name, job title changes, etc. from your emails. But it's also going to pick out information from your transcripts from your calls as well. So if you log in your calls, it can also pick out information from there, and it will just continuously enrich your database, which is awesome, especially for something like job title. If you're in conversation with somebody and they've got a promotion, their job title changes, you could then perhaps trigger a workflow to send a notification to opt them into a campaign to congratulate them, etc. So really, really pleased to see that's now kind of a free offering with a core seat, which most users will have.
Yeah, I think that's super powerful. So like you said, conversational enrichment is the exact words that you used in our pre-inbound chat a couple of weeks ago. And yeah, it's going to be doing that. It's going to be scraping information from emails, from calls, from notes, all those places across the CRM that other tools just don't have access to. So I think that's a really big differentiator on why HubSpot is doing so well in this space. Kind of leads on to the next feature, which is smart insights about the CRM. So, you're going to have things like smart insight cards, like AI catch-up cards that allow you to get a quick update on what's been going on in your CRM, digest notifications around performance shifting, column insights that tell you about the data patterns with a simple click. That is all super powerful stuff that, I think is just going to make analyzing the CRM and getting insights really quickly. So you're solving problems like manual data review, missed opportunities, where a customer is saying they could probably want to upgrade, but you never kind of notice it. And then you've got reactive customer management being solved as well. Like you're going to have constant view of everything that's going on. So that all kind of builds into HubSpot's kind of unified theme that they're going for at this inbound, which I think is really important. So it kind of ties into the Breeze summary things that we've been seeing recently, but just much more powerful, which I think we'll really like.
And it's become so powerful. It's now going to be its own standalone. Well, it has been in the UK, but now worldwide, its own standalone hub.
That is really, really exciting. Like you said, like at the moment you have to buy a hub, right? You have to buy Marketing Hub or buy Sales Hub or 10 seats for Service Hub or whatever it might be. But post inbound globally, we can, you as a customer of HubSpot can buy the CRM as its own standalone product. So there's a whole kind of screen grab of all the different features that come under that. So like the unified customer profiles, unifying your team, unifying your tech stack. It includes quotes, it includes product libraries, deals, stuff like that. It's not going to include things like marketing email. It's not going to include things like, sending SMSs, all that type of stuff. But it will include things like workflows, presets, insights, quoting, from what I can see there as well. And that sounds really awesome. I think it's a great addition to be like, I just need a CRM. I don't need sales team crazy features. I don't need help desk. I don't need marketing email. I just want a really good CRM. And I think that's going to be a massive improvement.
Definitely. Yeah, it's great to see that as an option.
Absolutely. Adam, do you want to kick us off with Breeze, all the massive updates that are coming to Breeze? And just to be clear, people watching the video, we've been given a 17-page document that we're not going to read out, as you'll be pleased to know. But what are the main highlights that we've got here, Adam?
So I think the first one is further improvements to Customer Agent, which feels like was it the OG agent? Was it the first one? But it's certainly been the most successful one.
Yeah, I think probably the OG. Yeah, but like you said, the most successful one. The fact that you can get Customer Agent on any hub is just proven that it's just a massive win.
Yeah, exactly. And I think they're just enhancing that effectively. So it can now qualify prospects. So it's kind of not just focusing on the other end of once somebody's converted to a customer, but it can also now qualify prospects. It can help book meetings, pass leads to reps. And it can also take into context the context that has been previously had and kind of use that same intelligence within its chat interactions. So if it picks up on how the person's communicating, it can almost replicate that back so that it's kind of on the same level that they're speaking to. It can tap directly into HubSpot records. So it can pull the history, update properties, personalized replies. So yeah, lots more advancements here, as well as testing and coaching, so you can kind of tweak and improve your Customer Agent, and all summed up on a nice dashboard as well, which shows you the impact the Customer Agent's having in terms of the number of leads it's qualified, the number of meetings it's booked, the number of tickets it's resolved. So yeah, some really powerful updates to the Customer Agent.
Yeah, Customer Agent's going to become a bit of a beast, I think. And if you're not deploying it, then, you're doing something wrong. That's for sure. So next update is a big one about the marketplace. So at the moment, you've got an app marketplace, you've got a template marketplace, and you've got a partner marketplace, which obviously we're on there. Come find us there. It's going to be all kind of wrapped up into an overall HubSpot marketplace, which I think is such a good idea. Bring it all into one place. And part of that is going to be the Breeze marketplace and the Breeze studio. So what does that actually mean? It means that you can build your own custom agents. And I'm not just saying customer agent, completely customized like assistants, basically, just like you can do with ChatGPT. And then you can configure those, and partners can then put them on the marketplace for customers to use, which I think is just awesome. So it's kind of like, ChatGPT's like custom GPTs, but all within HubSpot, all using HubSpot's kind of agent capabilities, which just sounds crazy.
Yeah, it's exciting because it's one of those ones where the possibilities are endless, really, and it'd be really cool to see what agents come about. There's obviously today we've already discussed so many new agents with like data agent, closing agent, customer agent. So yeah, it'd be really interesting to see kind of what other agents come about and how they can be deployed for different businesses.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the key bit here is they're actually going to be able to tailor agents that HubSpot's already built. So at the moment, it's a bit, you're a bit stuck with the ones that they've got. However, you'll be able to customize those exactly to your processes and build your own as well. So I think that is just one of the best updates. So you've got like customer research agent, you've got the Breeze assistant and the custom assistant. So all of those things. So you've got new capabilities here, including deep research capabilities, all built within HubSpot. You've got mobile access as well, and also connecting with apps like from the Google Workspace, Microsoft 365, Slack. Just, really, really awesome features there. Quick note, Breeze Copilot being renamed to Breeze Assistant just makes it kind of the same kind of standard, I guess, across everything that we're used to so far. And it just sounds incredibly powerful. So there's a new Breeze mobile app coming as well, which sounds awesome. And what else do we have here? Like I said, there's a lot of content that we've got to go through. So do you want to talk about Data Agent, Adam?
So the Data Agent is going to be able to kind of research and answer customer questions around the data that you have in your CRM. So it's going to be able to analyze not just the property data, but also your calls, emails, documents, and the web as well. So it's not just looking at the data within your CRM, but it's going to combine that as well with research from the web, which is what makes it really powerful.
Yeah, because other tools just don't have that context, right? Like, Clayagent from Clay doesn't have that. Salesforce's Einstein requires like a PhD level person to set it up. Like, you're going to be able to just crack on with using this and get that full context, like you said, from CRM data, the web, documents, calls, emails, all in one place. And I think the kind of the graphic that HubSpot's kind of provided us with here is like millions of sources coming into Breeze and just spitting out just nice, clear data that's unified, and that you'll be able to do good stuff with, not just have it there for the sake of it.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's going to massively help for kind of researching prospects in terms of the data and enrichment that will be able to bring, as well as enriching the data you currently have. So if you're looking to fill in like job title, etc., it can do that. And it can also kind of like we've just said, combine that information across different sources. So like you mentioned, Clayagent just looks at the web but doesn't have that CRM context. And this just brings it all together. So very powerful.
It's super powerful. And I think having it all in one place is going to be good. Do you know what I think is going to be key? It's going to be partners, RevOps people actually understanding what is what's the agent set up across the portal, right? I didn't think we'd be saying that a couple of years ago. But, you're going to have your CRM, and then you're going to have, okay, what agents sit on top of that? What data are they going to have access to? What's coming in to the CRM, and how do we build that? And I think that's the big difference that we're going to see, is just trying to keep on top of all of the different sources of data and then knowing what to do with it. You've got the segments that are powered by AI. You've got the AI-powered email if you're on Marketing Enterprise. You've got the sales workspace and meetings. It's like you need to get the sources right, the agents right, to make everything else usable, because otherwise it's going to be like a bit of a house of cards, right? You're going to have AI this, AI that, feeding it. If you're not feeding it the right stuff, the right prompts, is all going to become a bit, shaky ground.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if one day there's like some kind of master agent or something that's kind of...
I think that's the key, right?
Controlling the sub agents that sit below it, so you can at least work out what's going on. But I think the biggest thing with the agents is, obviously it's amazing what they can do, but the speed in which that this has kind of come about, I think it's a catch-22 in a sense, because the more data and the more information they have, the better they'll become. But obviously, to start with, they don't have as much information, so you've really got to have that trust in it to kind of run with it, in the knowledge of it will continue to get better. But obviously it is not necessarily, it is to an extent a risk when you're first implementing it, because it is something new to a process. So it'd be interesting to see kind of the uptake of agents, or it'd be great to see a stat of how many agents are installed right now compared to next year.
Yeah, I agree. I think the key bit for us, like as a partner, is going to be, in the connected apps type of area or integrations area. You see all the apps that you've got, right? We're going to have to be able to have a unified kind of view of agents. I think that's what Breeze Studio is going to be. It's going to have all of the agents you've got deployed, all the agents that are available. And I just think it's I think the most important thing is going to be, how do your users of the CRM know what's going on behind the scenes? Right? Oh, that agent's doing that. I don't need to pick that up just yet because this agent's doing that. Like your documentation, your enablement is going to be huge, because otherwise you're going to have your user going, oh, do I need to do anything right now? Is it what's next for me? Like, I think that's going to be quite crucial.
Yeah, 100%. There's a big learning element to agents, just in terms of actually understanding, like you say, what they are, what they do, how they come into play, when they come into play. Because obviously the point is for them to enhance efficiency, not to double up on work. So yeah, I think that's a really good point in terms of knowing where they sit within the process.
Yeah, absolutely. So just before we wrap up, Adam, we're going to talk about loop marketing on another thing. Looks great. HubSpot's going to be going on about that for months for sure, because it sounds incredible. But out of what we've discussed so far, what update are you most excited for and why? And let's keep it brief.
Yeah, okay. I'll try and keep it brief. So I think my most exciting update, I guess, as a marketeer at heart, is around the marketing studio. I really like that one. I think that'd be a game changer for marketeers to be able to kind of plan and execute a campaign all in one place. And also I'll tag it on because it's also marketing the AI powered emails. So being able to optimize send times and stuff, I think, that should increase conversions and stuff for marketers. How about you?
Yeah, completely agree. And I think, if you look at marketing and Hub Enterprise, it's come on so much in the last 6 months. Beforehand, it was like, well, why should I get Marketing Hub Enterprise? Will I only get that for attribution? Will I only get that for that nice kind of pretty Sankey report? Oh, I've got 1 million contacts, therefore I have to have it because of the pricing. Actually, now, if you've got 5,000 contacts, but you want to access all the great actual features, there is a reason to buy it beyond just beyond the fact that those other 3 things like kind of fell into line. Like, you've actually got a proper reason to go, I'm going to buy that because the features are awesome. Whereas I think before it was more of a pricing play, which, to be honest. So I think that's a great. You kind of stole my one if I'm honest, which is fine. But I think from what I've seen, the Data Studio, I've been doing lots of data work today. So I'm going to say Data Studio, bring in those Google Sheets, enriching the data. I would like to see how much credit stuff costs. If it's like 1 credit per row and you've got a row data sheet of like 30, 40,000, that's going to get expensive super quick, right? Keen to understand more about that, but really excited of bringing those data sources in and like a unified experience. And I think, the whole theme of inbound unified is kind of what HubSpot is, right? That is like, it's gone back to its roots. It's a unified CRM. It's not trying to be, some AI powered. It is AI powered, but it's not kind of marketing. Oh, we're an AI CRM, right? Great. So is everyone else. It's like, actually it's all unified under one platform. I think, that's what's most exciting for me. I said we'll keep it short, but I ended up rabbiting on as always. But look, Adam, you're in at San Fran next week. Have an amazing time. This video will be released at 5:30, I believe, UK time, just as all the inbound updates come out. So you'll be sat listening to Yamini in San Fran.
Yeah, I can't wait. And hopefully we'll have some more updates kind of live, if you like, from San Francisco. So watch this space for some more updates.
Yeah, looking forward to speaking to you on the ground at Inbound. So thanks very much, Adam. And I won't see you next week.
No, yeah.
See you later.
Yeah, cheers, Matt. Bye.